Okay, so in this case, what you want to, which some of you may be unfamiliar with some of this language, is that base fare means that it's something you always have to pay. It's sort of like if you take a look, 01 is sort of like your base cost, because it's saying that basically I have to start with the one cost $10. Each additional topping costs $1. Have exactly what you guys said there, 1 T. Now, because T represents, of course, the number of toppings. Now, please be aware that because it's a 1 value, sometimes we don't write the 1. So I just wanted to warn you that you might actually see this as just 10 plus T rather than 10 plus 1T. Because multiplying by 1, remember, doesn't actually change things. Now, this is a type of equation where I can actually show you a little bit of algebra, because you've done some of this in grade 8. And that is, what if I asked you how many toppings are on a $24 pizza? And this is not realistic, but basically, notice that $24 is C. And that means, of course, we're looking for how many toppings, which is T. And so we get 24 equals 10 plus T. Now, I bring this up because I want to start a little bit with some of the algebra. And it's a real basic one, because some of you may have forgotten this in grade 8. So in order to solve for T, remember that whatever you do to one side of your equation, you must do to the other. And I'm going to make them, and then the number of pieces. The number of pieces P to the number of cuts.
Taxes on gasoline too. So that's, again, that is a politically contentious issue that's connected to this, because some people say, well, it should be a little bit more revenue neutral on the government side. So you're probably sitting there in grade 9 thinking, revenue neutral, what's this guy talking about? But what I mean by that is some people think that as the price goes up, the tax that we pay shouldn't. That it should stay sort of at more of a fixed rate to reduce some of the shock that takes place when the price of gas goes up. So you can see how this is a political issue, where you have some governments that step in and they have some regulation of gas price, and of course there's taxes on gas, and as the base price of gasoline goes up, so does the amount of tax, because it's a percentage, it's not a fixed rate. So it is indeed a very political issue, and again, you know, in source 1, another political thing might be, you know, or argument might be made, very related to source 2, is that, you know, if people are indeed being hosed by oil and gas companies, you know, should the government be allowing that to happen? Should the government be stepping in and protecting the consumer so they don't get hosed? You know, it's not outright stated in the cartoon, but it's definitely an underlying theme, because you see the effect on this family, right? It's sort of like a minivan, you know, they got the bicycles, it's your family vacation, right? So this is just family life, you know, a picture of family life, you know, is about as good as you can paint it. And so it's representing the Canadian family unit again. So tugging at people's heartstrings by showing the effects on family, and it all relates to back to government, because, you know, there is supposed to be protection in place so consumers are not taken advantage of in the marketplace. Even though we have a free market economy and a capitalist system, there is a lot of government intervention in place to make sure that the system works well for everyone, that everybody's interests are protected. And so again, so you can make all those connections back to government and source one. And so hopefully this gives you an idea, because if you looked at question 3 and thought, well, I see an obvious political message in source number 2, but I really don't see the political message in source number 1. All I see is this cartoonist saying that people are getting hosed on the price of gases. There's no political message. So sometimes you need to read between the lines a little bit more to see how these cartoons connect to topics that we study. And so since there's a lot of you in here and listening, I'll just maybe, if this makes sense to you, that has to be the difference. So by all means, please make sure you add QuizStar. If you don't see it, don't worry about it too much. Hopefully I can get that, I'll get that test in there tomorrow, and hopefully people can start to see the classes, and maybe, you know, I'll log in as a student and maybe see what's going on there. But like I say, I haven't had this issue in any other class, and the only difference is this is the only one without a quiz in it. So I'm thinking that that has to be the difference. So if not, you know, I'll figure this out tomorrow. But so don't worry about it if you don't see the class. So again, I'll hand the mic over, and any other questions.